Hey dudes, what is up and welcome to the video. My name is Instinct, and today we're going to be having a bit of a bitch. And I'm just going to be going over my problems with the Mosin. Now before we jump in, because it's probably going to seem like it, I'm not fucking hating on the game and I'm not hating on the developers. I love the game and I love the way the developers have done it. Up until this point they've done everything fucking great, and at the moment it's my main game, which is why I'm so concerned. And I thought about making this video quite a few times, but basically I talked myself out of it. But then I see this post on Twitter, and basically it was an EFT announcer post trolling about the Mosin, really, like people that say that it's overpowered. And believe it or not, there's a certain dipshit out there that sounds like he's always fucking swallowing his microphone that believes there is absolutely no fucking problem with this gun and tries to defend it in any way that he can. But anyway, with this troll post, basically Cotton, the man who reminds me so much of AJ Styles, this is what he had to say. Considering the Mosin makes that armour 100% useless, referring to Ford armour because that's what the troll post was about essentially. He then goes on to say, yes it is OP, question mark. Remove the stupid blunt damage so Mosins stop one-tapping people through chest armour. I don't mind that it one-shots helmets. Skill should be rewarded, not RNG. Now for those of you that don't know what RNG is, which I'm pretty sure most of you would, but I'm going to explain it anyway, it means that it's randomly generated. So like one time you might get hit in the fucking chest and you're fine, and then another time you might die instantly with a brand new Ford. Which, considering the price difference, is absolutely ridiculous. And there's some people that'll be like, oh, it's not the gun that's OP, it's the bullet. It's like, the bullet's been in the game for ages, you just forgot about it because nobody uses the SV98. And you want to know why nobody used the SV98? Because it was fucking expensive. When you died with it, it hurt. Whereas when you die with a Mosin, it's like, oh, who gives a fuck, I've got about another 40 of them because they don't cost nothing. And the same people that say it's the rounds that are overpowered because they're a really good round in real life, which they are. These rounds have been in service for a very long time, and there's a simple reason for that, because they're fucking good. Now here's the scary thought, that's not even the best round you can get for this gun, so imagine if they were to add the better ones to Tarkov. But the same people that try to say that it's the rounds are the same people complaining about the price rise with the Mosin. And it's like, oh, okay. So if it's the rounds that are overpowered, and they're the real problem here, which obviously they're the thing that does the damage, there's no disputing that and I'm not saying that, then why the fuck were these people that are defending the Mosin saying it's the rounds, were they never using the SV98? Because let's face it, that's what it is, it's a fucking Diet Coke version of the SV98, but unfortunately it's better and it's only going to get worse when they add more attachments to it. Because if you've seen some of the attachments that they get, or some of the mods that they're going to add, you'll be able to have it like short barrel and everything. Logically that would make it less accurate, but I bet you that's not the case. Or even if it is like on stats less accurate, I bet you it makes no difference whatsoever. And as if it isn't bad enough, I bet you it fits inside an Epsilon case. But no, if you want an answer to why people didn't use the SV98, but they're happy to jump on the bandwagon and defend the shit out of the Mosin, it's because whether they like to admit it or not, because it's so cheap, it's easy to exploit. And their biggest defense is, like, what do you want us to do about it, essentially? Because in many parts you can go and buy it for, like, nothing in real life, pretty much. And it's like, well, gee, I don't fucking know. Maybe the game would have been better off without it being added at all. Like, there was already ways to do cheap runs. Leg meta's still very much a thing. I've legged fully geared players with a P226 for fuck's sake. Was that a viable way to do it? Of course not. The only reason I was able to pull it off is because they were really bad. And in my opinion, if you're running around fully geared and you manage to die to the legs from a P226, you deserve to die. But what you do not deserve is to have the best armour in the game on and be shot once in the fucking chest and you're dead. You lose your gear. You lose your kit that can be upwards of 300, 400k to a gun that costs nothing. That is bullshit. In one of my streams, I took on a squad of 3, and I killed all 3 of them, but the last dude I shot in the chest, the first 2 were headshots, so that was fine. There's another thing, I don't have a problem with killing people with headshots. In fact, I've actually seen a fast block a bullet from it. It only happened once, so it's rare, which is fine, but I'm totally down with it being able to one-shot heads. Like, if you hit me in the head, GG, you can have my gear, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But basically after I killed them, they came into my stream, and they were like pretty upset about it, obviously. It was only one shot, so I actually dumped his gear. I wouldn't have been able to carry all of it anyways. But I specifically made sure I dumped his gear because that's bullshit. It feels like you cheated. It really does. And while we're on the subject of realism here, because that's one of the biggest defenses that they use, is like how realistic the bullet is, what it does to real armor, and although it might not penetrate this armor in real life, the initial force of the impact would break your ribs and blah 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 blah. Okay, we get it, it's a good fucking round. I've already stated this. But here's the thing you gotta look at. I know realistic things can be fun. Some things are fun when they're realistic. I come from playing war simulators. I know how much fun things can be when they're realistic and immersive. But this is one of those things that it just can't be realistic. Because yes, that's what it's like in real life, but there is no balancing in real life. If you're going to do guns to realistic standards, you can't have balancing. That's not how it works. Do you think when people design guns, they give a fuck if the enemy team's gun's just as good as theirs or it's balanced or not? No, they're only interested in building something that is a fucking killing machine. And this is one of those exceptions to the rules where I say that sometimes realism isn't fun. Not everything that is realistic is fun. And this is definitely one of them. Because adding this gun to the game in its current state, and if you plan on keeping it this way, you're effectively throwing away your endgame. There is no point wearing big bulky ass armour that makes you slower, which is the trade-off for being able to take more bullets to begin with, if you're just going to be one-shot by somebody who has a gun that costs next to nothing. There is no logic in that. Like, how can some people defend that? I don't even understand. Like, it makes no sense. Look at it this way, you get the advantages of being super fast because you're carrying next to nothing, you don't have to carry magazines, and the risk versus reward system goes completely out the fucking window, because the risk versus reward system in most survival games works off you take out big gear to attempt to bring home lots of more big gear. That's how it works. But at the moment you take out big gear and your reward is a fucking lousy Mosin, and your risk is all the gear you're carrying, which is, as I said, 300, 400k plus kits. Like, that's not even the most expensive kit, not even anywhere near. All to pretty much just get a lousy Mosin, and if you do not get it, then you can guarantee you're going to die to it. And the way that people defend that at the moment is if you can't outplay someone with a Mosin, you really suck. Wow, 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 wow. It's like, it's not a matter of outplaying somebody. There is no outplay. You're usually just shot in the fucking chest, which is the center mass, the biggest part of your fucking body, and you're just dead. There is no fight. You are dead. Now couple that with the fact that they can sprint for fucking ages because they're super light. They don't have to carry magazines, which means they don't even have to have a rig or anything. And trying to kill them is only going to get more difficult in time. Because from the podcast that was on not too long ago, they said like the recoil we're experiencing now is from an end game player. So as the development of the game goes on, we're going to get a much, much worse recoil rate. Imagine trying to hit somebody running around with a Mosin in the heat of battle with a gun that has so much more recoil than what they do now. If you can't see a problem with that, and the fact that they'd be able to one-shot you and not have to worry about recoil because you only need the one shot, you're fucking crazy, and I'm not budging on this subject. You can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned. And that's the bottom line. Because if you want it to be so realistic that nothing is balanced, and there's no point having an endgame when you can do just as good, if not fucking better, with the starting gear, then you can pretty much say goodbye to a lot of your player base, because they're not going to want to log hours and hours in the game to basically get to where the endgame shit is, and then not even have to use it, like not even want to. What's the incentive for me to want to play for hours on end, get to that higher tier gear, all for there literally to be no point using it whatsoever? It's fucking stupid, and if you think that is okay, that you've got to be out of your mind. But when it gets to a point when they're out of control, and nobody wants to fucking play because there's literally no point, you can sit there in PvE mode and be like, oh hey, it's okay though, we still got to keep our rifle boys, we're good. And then to think there's still the SVD to worry about, a semi-auto version essentially. It fires the same fucking bullets. Can you imagine what that thing is going to be like? Imagine being on customs with how fucked up the spawns are, and they reckon they're going to fix it, but there's fat chance of that, I reckon. But could you imagine spawning in, seeing a squad basically just mowing them the fuck down, because that's what it's going to do. If that thing is able to pump out bullets like that at you, you are fucked. There's nothing you can do. There's no point even playing. But I'm okay with that, depending on how they put the pricing of it, because if they make it a purchasable item that is cheap, I think that's going to be complete bullshit. And I know this isn't going to be a very fucking popular opinion, but then again, it's 2018, you can't say anything without pissing anybody off. So you know what, I could really give a fuck less. But in my opinion, they should put it in as a tradable for Bitcoin only item, to make the risk versus reward of using the fucking thing actually worth it. Because then if you spawn in and you die with it, then it hurts you. But if you spawn in and mow down a squad of 4 because the thing throws boulders at people pretty much, then that's fair. That is fair. That is risk versus reward. Whereas if you make it, say, a 60, 70k gun, and you spawn in and just go pap, 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 mow the whole fucking squad down, get whatever the best of their gear you can extract, okay, you've just pretty much shit on a couple $1 million worth of rubles with your 60 to 70k gun. That would be bullshit. And if you died, it'd be like, meh, a kibba run, that'll get us another couple, we'll be right. So the only way I can see them fixing the Mosin to the point where it's fair for everybody, because I don't want it completely removed from the game, because that'd be completely crazy. And as I said, I don't have a problem with it being able to one-shot helmets, I really fucking don't. Like Cotton said, skill should be rewarded. Referring to headshots should give you rewards. If you headshot someone, you should get their gear. But also, like he said, it shouldn't be RNG. You shouldn't just take a pot shot at someone, send a mass, hit them in the chest, and they die. That's fucked. And I'm not willing to budge on this subject at all. That's fucked. And if they keep it like that, I'm always going to believe it's fucked. And once they start adding the new attachments and shit, I think we're going to see a player-based decrease. Because if nakeds can run around with it, and as I said, I bet you the short one fits inside an Epsilon case. Can you imagine? So the only way I can see him fixing it is by making it 2-shot to the chest at least for a fort. 2 shots at least gives you a fucking chance at survival. But 1 shot is ridiculous. That's too far in my opinion. I'm not willing to budge on the subject at all. Because as I said, you can't have realism and fun on this subject. It just doesn't work. And everyone else can have their fucking say, so I'll have mine. I'm not holding my tongue anymore. As I said, it's 2018, you can't say anything without someone jumping down your throat. But it's the internet, and I choose what I fucking post. My thoughts are always going to be the same on it if it stays this way, and I could give a fuck less if it upsets anyone. Because if it's one thing I've noticed, all the people that defend this fucking gun, especially the bigger YouTubers, go watch some of their fucking gameplays. Watch how bad they are with the endgame gear. I'm not going to mention who, I'm not going to mention what type of gear, just go watch for yourself, do yourself a little bit of research. And you'll see exactly what I'm saying is fucking truth. The only reason they like the Mosin is because it's cheap, it's exploitable, and they suck with the fucking endgame gear. So having a gun that they can take on fully geared players with is to them their way of balancing the game. And it's fucking bullshit. Their idea is, oh, if you want to beat a Mosin, get close to him. It makes no fucking difference. If a full group rushes you with a Mosin, yeah, you're pretty much dead. But if one player rushes you with a Mosin, and you run back and hold an angle, they're fucked. If you're half competent and can hit a shot, they're dead. And hitting someone in the chest isn't that hard, it really isn't. As I said, if I was to do that and I was hit in the head, I'd be completely fine with it. But if I go back to the fucking screen and it says that I was shot through the chest, that's fucked. I'm fine with it being able to one-shot through helmets. I'm fine with it being able to one-shot your limbs that are exposed. But one-tapping you through the best armour in the game is a fucking joke. Anyway dudes, I'm done having my bitch for today. Now I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep in a corner because that's apparently what anyone who opposes the Mosin does. And I'll see you in the next video dudes. Later.